Welcome back. Two Texas Republican senators say a proposal that would allow college students to carry guns on campus already has enough support to pass the upper chamber. The bill would allow students, faculty, and staff members with concealed handgun licenses to carry guns into campus buildings and classrooms. The issue has sparked fierce debate in previous legislative sessions, but never became a law. Joining me now is Edwin Walker. Edwin is a program attorney for Texas Law Shield. Edwin, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Edwin, if you have a concealed carry license, should you be allowed to carry your weapon on a college campus?
Yes, certainly you should be allowed to carry your weapon on a college campus. In fact, many of your viewers may not know this, but it's already the law that a concealed handgun license holder can carry a concealed handgun on a college campus as long as they are in the parking lot, parking garage, sidewalk, walkway, or driveway of the institution. The only prohibition is that they cannot take it inside of any building or any improvement that is actually on the campus property.
Okay. Now, I'm sure this is probably the crux of the argument, the debate over this bill, but does it really make a university safer, or is this kind of putting people at risk by having concealed handgun license holders carry on campuses?
Well, I believe that it does make people safer. First of all, no sign or any legislative prohibition has ever kept a bad guy with a gun from going into a situation. And one thing I kind of wanted to make clear is that you had mentioned at your introductory part of this is that it allows students, which it certainly does, but one thing people should remember is that you have to be 21 years old to get a CHL, or you have to be a member of the military, either an active or retired member of the military. So for people to think that this is going to allow 18, 19, and 20-year-old frat boys to run around with concealed handguns is certainly not true. This bill is aimed at allowing adults, responsible adults, who have CHLs, the simple right to carry, the right to engage in lawful self-defense, that they have any other place, any other place that's not prohibited, at the store, at the park, in parking lots, those areas. And so it just simply expands that. The only reason that this is an issue is because when this law was originally drafted, the legislature just wrote the most general term of school or educational institution. Now, of course, that means everything from a preschool to a medical school and everything in between. And so it didn't really look at the fact that if the purpose of the prohibition is to, quote unquote, protect children, that it didn't recognize that children don't go to universities and don't go to colleges and don't go to technical schools. These are places where responsible adults gather. And so in light of that, I don't think that there's really any risk whatsoever in expanding concealed carry to college and university campuses.
Well, Edwin, when this debate comes up, what really comes to people's minds is situations like the 2007 massacre at Virginia Tech. And I know you said that signs won't keep a bad guy with a gun from coming on campus, but will people with concealed handguns keep bad guys from coming to campus?
Well, I believe that they will, and even if you're cynical and say, no, that's a pipe dream, that'll never happen, just think about the possibility. There's a lot of veterans that are now going to school. There's a lot of people that are trained in firearms, and so if that man, if that man in Virginia Tech would have been met with just one individual that was allowed to lawfully carry a firearm on their person, things absolutely could have turned out a whole lot differently that day. Absolutely.
Now, Edwin, why has this bill failed in Texas in the past? Why has it not gone through?
Well, it has always been able to get out of the House, and this campus carry bill has been passed, has been presented in a lot of past legislative sessions. It's been able to get out of the House, but it's never been able to get out of the Senate, and the reason is because in the Senate there was a rule that said that in order to bring a bill to the Senate floor for a vote, that there had to be consent given to bring the bill forward, and that consent had to be made by 2/3 of the Senate. And so that is the way that people would use politics to keep bills that they didn't like from facing a vote as to whether or not it will pass or not pass, by simply keeping it from being voted on in the first place. And so unless in previous sessions there had to be more than 21 senators who allowed the bill to come to a vote, in the past they've been able to get 19, 20 senators, but never break that 21 senator barrier. Well, this year they altered the rule. And so now, instead of needing the consent of 2/3 of the Senate to bring a bill for a vote, it now only needs 3/5 of the Senate to bring a bill to the vote, and that's 19 senators. And so, since this bill previously has absolutely been able to garner the support of at least 19 senators, now the bill will come to the Senate floor for a vote. I am confident that it will pass a vote, and Greg Abbott, I am absolutely confident, will sign it.
Now you say you believe that it will likely pass this time around because now 19 senators are supposedly behind it or are supporting it. But do you think that, I mean, what about the national sentiment about guns? Do you think that that will, weigh, or I guess we're just looking at the state right now. Do you think that will weigh on this decision as well?
Well, I think national sentiment with regard to guns is definitely swinging in the pro-gun rights area. Just in the last few months, we have seen the legislatures of Georgia and Missouri and Ohio pass very, very pro-firearms, pro-Second Amendment legislation. And so, Texas is usually looked at as a leader in the area of pro-Second Amendment legislation. And so I really don't think that there's any impediment at all in getting this passed.
All right, Edwin, well, that's all the time we have for you today. We really appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll touch base again once this ball really starts getting rolling.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm available to speak with you all anytime you would like. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. That's all for today's Closer Look. Stay tuned for the CBS 7 News at 5.